Hey, what's up, everybody? It's David Van Dyke here with another morning warm up. I got yelled at for not giving the lake view shot, so there you go. There's the pool, there's the lake, and what's on the board this morning? Oh, little Kingpin. Ow. Um, as you'll see, I've got cough drops laying off to the side because of my allergies. They came out and cut the grass and stuff yesterday, so I can't breathe today. But yeah, you know the routine by this point. I'm gonna kind of chat a little while I work and get warmed up. Um, the reason I'm doing this today, this is just a piece I'm doing at random. But I set it off and a lot of the pencil got smudged, and I like to try to have my stuff, dear Lord, I like to try to have it a little cleaner. So here, I'll pick it up so that I'm not shaking you guys to death. So first order of business is clean this up some. And the reason I'm doing this, I work as a comic book artist, but I also have done movie posters and, entertainment illustration, as it was once called a long time ago. But my point specifically with this piece was that I wanted to show this morning, when you're warming up, you don't have to, you don't have to do like comic book stuff, right? I'm not going to spend, my next 12 hours are going to be drawing comic books. So we can do something different in a warm up. I know that I'm going to be inking a good bit today. So I just really need to get my hands moving, and kind of dialed in, right? And woke up, get the brain firing, those type things. So what I'm gonna do is get this kind of cleaned up a little bit. I'm gonna pull some of this off. I hope y'all can see that. And then the way that I paint is I paint with a movie poster kind of style, like a Drew Struzan, Matt Bush type style. I learned this technique from Matt Bush, personally. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get this clean and tightened up, and then I'm gonna go in and drop in my darkest darks, meaning anywhere that's absolute black. And we'll go through what I'm gonna use here in a minute. I just want to pull, right now, I want to pull a lot of this excess off as my hand starts moving around, brushes start moving around. And you should have, ideally, a piece of paper to put under your hand, which I do, but I'm lazy, it's early, and, we can just take some of this off. So, yeah, I figure I want a little break from the norm. I'm going to be inking today, so I do need to get a brush in my hand to some degree, but I don't need to throw lines for an hour, and I still will, like, I'll go in and throw some lines before I get going, but I'm kind of good with that. I say that, and then I'm going to go in and immediately start pulling off more, because I'm not good with it. Shaking the camera again. Sorry, everybody. Sorry. Don't worry. We're okay. Everything's okay. Calm down. I've just got a, glass of water. I am using I'm using the Merry Christmas 2024. No, it's was a gift. Rosemary and Co. sent out. I ordered a bunch of brushes from them around Christmas, and they sent that out. This is some, I bought a 20 pack of brushes at Michael's or something. When you're painting in this style, I find that you do not spend $20 and $30 on a brush to do this. The point of this is to be very free, very loose. We're moving quick. So you don't want to get into wasting money on big, expensive brushes. It's not necessary. So I've got a cloth just to kind of wipe excess off. A little El Cheapo thing. I am using black gesso for my darkest darks, and I will use this for my dark washes, like any gray washes, which for this, because I'm trying to be as photo accurate as possible, I do have reference. So I know that these areas are kind of a gray, and so what I'll do is I will thin this down with water to put those in. But first things first, I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and drop my darkest darks, absolute black. I like gesso because I can go back over top of it later with like colored pencils. It holds colored pencil very well. White paint, it lays a flat matte finish down, so it makes it very easy to work over top of. So that's kind of what we're going to get into this morning, and I'm just going to kind of pick around a couple spots, drop my complete blacks in. And with this, you want to do basically anything that's absolute black, I'm going to paint absolute black. The thing with this technique is, and the thing that I see people mess up all the time, is paint what you see and not what you know. Okay? And what do I mean by that? All right, well, I know that Vincent D'Onofrio's pupil is not that big on this side, but in my reference, it is, because this is casting a shadow over this side of his eye. His pupil's right about here. So it makes the appearance of it seem bigger than it is. But I know that, I can see that. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go by what I see, not what I know, So this is the way it looks. This is what I'm going to go for. And bang, we're in. And the great thing with this technique is it's very forgiving because you're working in stages. So you have a moment to reset in between and adjust things and make corrections. But you also have the ability to go fast and be very loose, which is something I struggle with on a daily basis. When I first got into comics, I was trained that everything had to be razor tight, and I always liked the guys that were loose. I liked the style, but I was not taught to be that way, and it has inhibited me because I can't now break that. And I'm sorry again, I'm on a wobbly thing, and I'm trying to make sure you guys can see while I'm also able to reach. And I'm checking my reference and double checking and making sure that what I think I'm seeing. But again, I'm moving quick, very forgiving. because we're going to go in, we're going to lay this down. We're probably going to do a pass with washes, just so you guys can see a little bit of that. There's not much black on this, to be honest. And then, sorry for a second, I see that there's a lot of lead in this brow line, or this forehead fold. But we're just going to hit stuff kind of quickly. There's not a lot of black in this. Why Vincent D'Onofrio, I did a Punisher piece that is for sale, $150. Anybody that wants it, you can find it online. Right after watching the Born Again, which I really enjoyed, you know, it had its issues. Granted, of course, they all have issues. Like, you're never gonna have a perfect one, but I did a Punisher, and I got in the mood to do like a couple more characters, and you know, Kingpin's the thing that makes that series, in my opinion. So Vincent D'Onofrio is born to play Kingpin. So I said, why not? And the point of these is I'm not doing them for anyone, so I can kind of explore, and if I mess up or I ruin it, then it doesn't matter. Any painting you see me do, unless it's for a specific client, is usually going to be up for sale at some point. There's our friend, the airplanes. They know when I'm recording, because I haven't heard one all morning. Okay. So yeah, I just picked Kingpin out and went, you know, I'm gonna do that. And so here we are. So let me quickly talk about, real quick, the way this technique works is you put in your darkest darks, right? And once you've got that done, you run your washes. So like what I'm gonna do is, and by washes I mean we're gonna water this paint down to make it transparent. I'm using acrylics non-toxic, dry fast, so it allows you to work quicker, and usually the cheapest paint also, you know, because money matters. So what I'll do is I'll add water this down, and I will go in and put, like, this is one giant shadow. I'll hit some shadows here and here, and then I'll get like brown and put in like shadows, you know, back in here. Again, painting what I'm seeing, not what I know. If I see a color, I paint it. And you are really just trying to get rid of the white of the board. Some people will, you know, put a wash coat of brown or burnt sienna or something over the whole thing and tint the whole board, which you can do. That's perfectly fine. I've not tried this technique doing that. That's something I just now thought about. Like, I've never put a wash over the whole board of one color and then went back over and worked it. That's something that we may try on the next piece. Hell, we might try it on this piece now. Now I'm kind of, I got an idea for this one, but we will try that. If this video gets 10 likes, I will try doing this technique with starting with a wash over the whole board first, just because it's something I've never tried. I'm interested to see if it could work. Okay, so there's a little touch of black right here, and a little touch right here. And then this thins out and goes into here. And again, I'm constantly checking back and forth with my reference because you are doing a painting of a person. You really want to make sure that you are being as accurate as possible. Okay, looks like there may be a little hit right there. Okay, and that should be that for the blacks. So what I'm going to do now is I'm washing my brush out, and this is how fast acrylic dries, right? I just like hardcore wash my brush, right? And there's still paint in the brush because it dried. So what I'm going to do now, real quick, and then we're going to get you out of here, is just to demonstrate the washes. I'm going to get a little bit of water, and normally I would do this in a bottle and, you know, mix up a whole thing just to stay consistent. But just for the purposes of this video and kind of showing what I'm talking about, I've got a puddle of water here. You can see all I've done is dip my brush in the paint, not even heavily, just a little bit. And now I'm just mixing the water in. And this is something you can adjust, okay? But once you've done, like, you know, your shadows, you know, and you put in kind of anything like that, you just then want to basically run colors. So like his shirt's dark blue, so I'm going to get a blue. I'm going to thin it out like this and just paint the whole thing blue. And it's going to look splotchy and kind of but we're going to come back later and spray with the airbrush over it. Sorry, shaking everybody to death again. Which will smooth that out. And it will also allow us to adjust the color. And that's kind of the beauty of this technique, is you're just getting colors down, and then you're going to come back and make adjustments. Okay, so now we've got that, and this whole eye, I'm looking at my reference and see now we've got a gray tone. And this is a thing though where you've got to work kind of flat because it will run. Now I'm using Canson illustration board, and this is there's hot press and cold press. Hot press means that it's slick, it's like a plate finish, smooth. Cold press means there's a texture. I think this is a hot press. It might be cold, I don't know. There's not a lot of tooth on this, so I'm gonna say it's a hot press. But yeah, then I'm just gonna go in, and everywhere that I see this shadow, I'm gonna paint it in. Nothing fancy here. Not having to be super exact and precise. I'm just getting things put in where they go. putting things in their place, right? Come back, grab a little more. And I have to say, I appreciate the support you guys have shown. I do this just to get myself woke up in the morning and kind of get my brain moving a little bit. And I was surprised that people came and hung out and watched along. And I was surprised that people were sending me messages saying, like, keep going, love the content. I don't advertise this channel at all. It's just a personal, drawing comic books is a very lonely life. And not so much like, I have a fiance, a beautiful part of my life. I love hanging out with her, which we do every night. But in the daytime when you're working, like, it's just you. And used to, you would jump on the phone with people and talk, but that's kind of gone the way of the dodo, as they say. Not a lot of people to jump on the phone and chat with anymore while you're working. Everybody wants to text, but, like, clearly I can't text and draw because I need my hands. So this is kind of a way just to not be so lonely. No, it's just a way to kind of interact with comic fans, chat it up, check in, see what people are liking, what they're not liking, what everybody's into. That's the joy of comics, is the community of it. So yeah, I appreciate the support more than you guys know, because this was not, the goal here is not to have 100,000 subscribers, and yeah, that'd be nice, it'd be great, and we're gonna definitely try to put out cool videos at times when I want to, take a look at something or really voice something. But for the most part, it's just a place for comic fans to get together and hang out and chat. So as you can see, I'm running very light gray right now, and that's kind of on purpose. I don't want a big dark spot, because then I'm going to be fighting it. So you slam this in, right? One real quick thing, and then I'm gonna let you guys go. So let's just say that we were there, but I know that this eye gets darker in here, it gets darker in here. So here's the great part, is you go back in, you grab a little more wash, and because these boards absorb and acrylics dry so fast, it allows you to layer these washes in a way that you can build everything up, right? So you can kind of sneak up on it. You don't have to take a stab and hope you're right. I love this technique. I love the Drew Struzan style. This technique's just so forgiving. So I thought that I would kind of share a little bit of it with you guys. And then I'll go back in and kind of hit some spots. Doesn't matter. It's our little secret. So yeah, thanks again for hanging out. I try to not make these videos so long, but then I ramble because it's early in the morning and my brain's not awake yet. If you like the painting stuff or the comic stuff more, let me know and I'll do more of it. Thanks again, you guys, for hanging out, and I will see you tomorrow.